Hey, beautiful girlfriends, how are you today? We have something really special today. We're going to be sharing the story of Nicole, and just so excited to have you here, Nicole, to share a story of resilience and a woman who has constantly been changing and reinventing herself, adapting to the circumstances, and then showing up for yourself. And I'm so thrilled that you've come to share your story with us because I know it's going to touch the hearts of other women who might be walking through something that might need a transition or a reinvention. So tell the ladies, say hello, and just tell them where you are today and what you're doing.
Well, hi, beautiful ladies. My name is Nicole Orozco, and I am the founder of Archipelago Press, which has 4 imprints. It has Archipelago Press, Heartland Publishing. It has a Mill Creek View Publishing and Legacy Tree. So there's different reasons for different books.
Wow, that is a lot. And I have a feeling, you know what, we might have a little bit of a lag in connection here. We're always dealing with technology. So ladies, just bear with us here a second as we adjust. So Nicole, so your story is one that started many years ago, kind of about this reinvention and how all these pieces kind of come together. So share with us a little bit about your early experiences of how that kind of helped shape the woman you are today.
Okay, well, back in 19, I don't even remember, maybe close to 2000, I went back to school and I got my drug and alcohol certification. And then I went on to get a psychology degree. At the time, I was super depressed. I was working hard. I was raising 4 kids as a single mother. And I heard a podcast of some type that said, write about what you do, what you know. And at the time I was working, raising kids. So I wrote The Single Mother's Journey to Wholeness, Hope and Hope for Single Moms. And that's what I knew. I knew how to be a single mom, and I knew how to work my butt off. That's what I did know. And I was getting a degree. So I always believed in manifesting your destiny. I read a lot of Wayne Dyer and all the old Hay House books and on manifestation. And at the time I was in a course that was called Life Journeys, and I had to write my life out. So I said, I have a bachelor's degree. I'm an author. All these things. And I put it away. Well, 8 years later, every single thing came true. So life goes on, and you do what you have to do to make sure your family survives. I get married again. I'm a program director for the mentally ill. I have my degree. I'm working with schizophrenic and bipolar personalities. And I meet my husband at the mental clinic. He was doing flooring. And my now ex-husband. And I went on, all the red flags were there, but I ignored them. Even though I had my degree, even though I did a ton of counseling, even though I was working with the school district, teaching kids how to be better, even though because past conditioning gets it ignores its conditioning. So we do things on autopilot. So that's the beginning of the journey of now.
Oh, wow. Wow. So let's just hold for a second. You've gone through so much. You were saying that you were a single mom, you were doing it all. I mean, there's so many stories within the story. But today, this story is really about where you are today and how you got here. And, how do you feel like, like you said, there were red flags and all these things. Now, kind of looking back at that, how do you feel like that this has really played into developing who you are today?
Well, I think every person is a mirror to what we need to heal. So I believe, I love young. I was going to get my Psych D at Pacifica Institute in Santa Barbara. And it was on Jungian psychology. It was Joseph Campbell's school on the myth and the archetypes. And I believe everybody in our life comes to heal us. So they're a mirror to what we need to heal. So there's no mistakes. They're meant to be, and they're for learning experiences. It wasn't all bad. I couldn't have stayed 20 years. But because of growth and frequency, you start to, you do your inner work or you don't. And, or you don't.
Right.
And so by doing the inner work, my frequency started to rise, and I started to attract different types of people in my life, and his didn't. And he's on a different planet right now, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean he has different goals, ambitions, dreams, different resonance. That's my word of the year. And so we're not on the same frequency. It's like being a radio tuner, and you have two different stations and there's static in between. And so once the mirror is done, the reflection is done, and your lesson is learned, you can't always stay stuck. It's like I said in my last book that I'm about to release, it's like trying to fit in a dress that doesn't fit anymore. You can't zip it up no matter how much you want to.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I mean, how many women have been in that space where there's so much more to learn and to gain. So take the ladies a little bit through the process of where kind of the development of you during this time. You started publishing, and so take us a little bit through kind of those kind of development steps that were developing your character and where you are today.
Well, I was my last job, I was a what'd you call it? A design consultant for spas and fireplaces and outdoor furniture. And in 2019, my back started going out. I have a spinal fusion. And so right when COVID hit, I was on disability, just short term, and I never went back to work. And so COVID hit, and I have my own, or had my own opinions, still do, but I don't focus on it anymore. And I started a paper called The Flame. I screamed from the rooftops against tyranny. We got millions of papers out. God opened doors that no man could shut. And I went around the country to so many states and got papers out, newspaper. And then something happened that shifted. I prayed about a timeline shift is what I call it. It's a choice point. And no longer could I support some of the things that I saw happening in the world. And I can't control the geopolitical climate, and it clogged my brain. And I was doing 14 days of a lot of heavy duty stuff with being in that realm. And I wanted off. And at the same time, I got offered a newspaper. It was a local paper called the Mill Creek View. Mm-hmm. And it was more about community. So it was the perfect opportunity to step out of the political and screaming from the rooftops arena into more community and bringing people together and being a bridge. And so that put me as an owner of a local newspaper. And that was so I did a lot of publishing in those 5 years. Besides, I started writing books again. So I wrote The Soul Factory. I wrote Mind Chess about covert narcissism. I wrote The Frequency Code on a frequency machine. I did ghostwriting for Dr. Peter Amato, called, just his last 2 chapters, and cleaned up his book called Soul Silence. It was on the 11th step of recovery. I did Ana Vasquez on gifted children. Just some projects, a couple other ones too. And during that time, I developed a proprietary system to really do a really good job of getting the author's voice 100% intact. So when I knew I had to get divorced, newspaper does not pay. It just doesn't. It was more to keep 30 kids delivering, to keep the community together, and it wasn't something sustainable if I was going to be divorced. And I knew I was going to be divorced. So I knew I had to shift again. Like Madonna, right? She always said she reinvented herself. And so it was time to reinvent myself again. So I threw spaghetti at the wall. I was doing business loans and all kinds of stuff. I was just going to partner with a bunch of people. And I threw out the publishing, and people started noticing, and that's what the doors opened on. So
Mhm.
I know when open doors open, it's time to walk through them.
Yeah. So tell me this, it sounds like you had such a passion. I mean, just hearing your story that you've written all these books, I mean, that must be something that is within you that you cherish and you love. What does that mean to you now that you're stepping into this role of publishing and, like you said, capturing their voice? I think that's so important, that especially in today's AI world. So what does that mean for you to be able to capture their voice and share that?
Well, what it means is legacy, in my opinion. So everybody has a legacy, whatever story they're telling, whether it's fiction, whether it's a self-help book, whether it's a memoir, it's a legacy. So what it means is giving people their voice, and it also means leveling up. I know what newspaper did for me. I'm sure the magazine does this for you. It levels you up. It's a blue ocean, what they say, branding. And so it differentiates you between everybody else. It's almost a business card if you're in business. So whatever you're doing, you have to have a book, because what that does is it opens you up, especially in business, opens you up to other opportunities like speaking, more podcasts, putting a QR code, master classes, courses, and now your voice is 10, what do they call it in scaling? Now you're 10 times, 10 times what you were, 1,000 times what you were, really.
Yeah. So let's take it out of the business world. Let's talk from the heart a little
Okay.
about what do you see when someone comes and writes their book? Oh, so you have all those business things, all those marketing pieces, whatever. Do you see something happen within the person?
I see it being like a counselor. Um, Literally, as we walk through it, you're touching parts of their soul
Mm.
as you're drawing out their story. And that's what I do with every single person. You're finding pieces that they might not remember, or they bypassed, and you're pulling out those parts. So you have to be compassionate and graceful and reverent of
Mm.
the person's story, no
Mm.
matter what they're telling. And you're walking through a journey with them in order to pull out those pieces to help another human being. So as you counsel them, and you're not counseling, you're drawing, but that's what a counselor does, a good one, is draws out their psyche, their parts of them that maybe have been hidden, maybe are tender, maybe that are powerful that they didn't realize. And you're putting that into a transcript to draft a book in a logical order that to share with the world that could help another human being. So sometimes it's encouragement for them to make them realize their power, because
Mm.
their story is important.
Right. So, Nicole, tell us, what are some of those tender moments, maybe one or two, that kind of, as you have grown through all these experiences, walking through divorce, all these things, what are kind of those tender moments that other women might relate to? That, maybe they are a businesswoman, maybe they are thinking of writing a book, but yet they have that life happening. And that's why one reason I think we share our stories is that, we've got all these pieces to it, yet life is still happening and we have to live through it. And how do we find that? So what are kind of those tender moments that you might think of in your story that you could share with the ladies?
Well, my recent book, Hot Pursuit, The Radical Act of Choosing Yourself First, I was going through divorce and starting this publishing company.
Mhm.
So during the day, I was writing other people's stories. During the night, I would come home by a candle and cry and grieve, and I'd talk, and literally I did transcribing on myself. I
Mhm.
would do it in tears some nights,
Mhm.
or I'd come out of, like, one story's about the women rising, and we just had a spontaneous karaoke session with my granddaughter and my daughter. and just that woman tribal energy rising up. And it was so beautiful and spontaneous, and we're all healing. And my granddaughter got to see what true authenticity and power was. And so I write about that in the book. So it's raw. It's being okay with not being okay.
Yeah.
It's being okay to go forward in your whatever your passion is, even if you're not perfect. It's being okay to be a mess. It's being okay to cry, to grieve, but then give yourself just this much time so you don't get in a pity party. And you move into power. So you use the energy of whatever's going on. You cry, you get angry, you get happy, you get sad, whatever it is. I'm going through some of that right now, in fact. And you use that, you feel it first. You do not shove it down. You do not suffocate it. You feel it 1,000%, but then you only feel it for an amount of time because you could get stuck, right? So you let the energy go through you, and then you use that energy. If it's anger, you use it. If it's sadness, you use it. Even the joy and happiness, you use it, and you divert it into something purposeful, whatever it is.
So how have you used that energy and all of that for yourself?
I embody it. I do a lot of work on myself, and a lot, and I've done it for 30 years. So people might see a success story, and I'm out there on Facebook, just or on social media, I guess, but mostly Facebook. And I just put whatever up, it could be images of me walking with a horse or whatever, it's embodiment of who I am, what I'm feeling at that moment, with no shame, no guilt,
Mm.
and owning my power. And that's why I do it, because I want other women and other people to own their power. So how I see myself right now is embodiment.
Mhm.
And that means shifting my mindset to things that aren't going to drag me down, to really focusing on the things that are going to radiate positivity. And it doesn't mean I don't feel negative. It means that I choose my thoughts. I call them choice points in the book. I've
Mhm.
learned through my life, we all have choice points, and we could choose
Mm.
most of the time our thoughts, not always. Sometimes they take over. And yesterday I slept, I got sad, and my body was tired, and I took a 3-hour nap, and I was feeling, just not, and I allow that. God bless you. I allow that, but it doesn't mean I stay stuck there. And the difference is that our minds have neuroplasticity, and it's like a dirt road where if we think the same thoughts over and over, they actually put grooves into the way our thinking is, our consciousness. It's like saying have the mind of Christ, right? So to think of the joyful things, what Paul says. So all of that. And so the neuroplasticity it means you could put your own grooves. Carolyn Leaf would talk about this. Put your own grooves in your mindset, and that changes everything. So those choice points are every moment of your day. You could stay stuck, or you could choose a new thought.
Right. Yeah, so those choice points. And so what would you say to women that might be walking through a reinvention time? Maybe they're pivoting into something new, or they're walking through a difficult situation, because you've had so many different things from, from being a single mom to, doing all the pieces of that, getting remarried, walking through starting a business, and then shifting again. I mean, you shifted lots of different times and reinvented, but how do you keep showing up for yourself? How would you explain to a woman how to kind of do that show up for yourself, and to find that voice of yours?
I think you do need to do the inner work. There's no way around that. And whatever that work is, somatic therapy, EDMR, going to a therapist, looking within, 12-step recovery through codependency. It could be watching YouTube videos. It could be meditation, whatever it is that brings awareness to where your unhealthy patterns are. I still have them. The awareness is there, watching without judgment. I think it's also writing your life as it's already happened. And I think that's a powerful exercise, is to really navigate what you want in life and to be okay. Don't let guilt or shame or religion or anything tell you that you're not worthy, because you're a queen and your identity is so perfect and so beautiful. So whatever conditioning you had as a child, it's being gentle with that inner child and going to those parts of you and saying, thank you for protecting me, and thank you for being there for me, and thank you for noticing the reactions you have with the patterns, and realizing that was a coping mechanism as a child that you had, and being able to thank that part of you, and then integrate it into you, not just shove it down, not ban it, integrate it, notice it, and then be able to move on. So writing your life as if it's already happened is walking into your queenhood, walking into your destiny. It's walking into your true sovereignty. And whatever happens, people are a mirror to show you. So desperation could come through there. Past patterns of neediness, whether it be in business, whether it be in whatever, could come through. Defensiveness could come through. Wanting to run away could come through. All these different defense mechanisms, there's 1,000 of them, but they all come into to looking out in the outer world when we need to look in the inner world. Our realm is a castle, if like Saint Teresa of Avila would say, and we have an interior castle within, and it's in every type of teaching. And if we're looking at our inner castle and we're going through the garden of the snake and we're getting into the chambers of our heart, we're able to heal those parts, finally face our dragon, and integrate that dragon that was just trying to show us our soul. And so when we do that, we can embody power one step at a time, one torch at a time, lighting the fire to the next generation. So that is what I would say.
Yeah. So ladies, let's just recap that a bit. Just looking within. And so this is, Nicole, this is so perfect, because that's what our magazine is about. The Being Brave Tour podcast and magazine. That's what we're doing, is looking within our stories, seeing how those mirrors, and then talking about the lessons learned, so we can maybe inspire someone else. And so the magazine, ladies, if you're not familiar with it, we'll put the links in all the comments and the show notes and all that kind of good stuff. It's women like Nicole and other women, the coaches and writers and all these lovely ladies who have created little worksheets or exercises or reflections to look within. And I call it discovering the beauty within. Defining something out about you, taking you through that awareness, and maybe journal prompts to look within and be curious about yourself. And Nicole, I think that's really what it is. And seeing the proof of our own stories sometimes. Like you look back at your story, now you've written books about it. And like you said, you're learning and healing from it. So ladies, that's what a lot of times your story is. And Nicole said something earlier that I think is really important, is that maybe voice record your story. Talk to yourself like you were sharing your story with somebody else. Then you go to Nicole and you write your book and have it published. But yes, it's sometimes when we share our story, sometimes it's just for us. I know I wrote my story and I cried 16 times because it was layer after layer. Nicole, you were talking about the disappointment, maybe the abandonment, all these different feelings that maybe we have to walk through until we can kind of cut that cord of the emotion with it, where we can then look at our story like it's a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
we can see the beauty from it, the things that we've learned, the now that like you're doing all these beautiful things. What you said, you just finished your book last night that's going to get published.
Mhm.
And what a gift that is to other women.
It's the best book I've ever written. It was raw and real, and it came from my heart, and it literally will help so many people. I'm thinking of how to get it out. I'm like, oh, I wrote The Soul Factory. I love that book. It's just a little more poetic and fiction. This one's raw and real and through the fire, and it will help women embody their power. And that's what you do, right? That's what your magazine, when I saw the title of your magazine, I'm like, oh, I need to know her. I need to know this person, because that's what women need. That's what all humanity needs. Not just women, but I'm a woman. So I think that, we speak to each other like the women's circle, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. So ladies, as we close out, I'm sorry, Nicole, I hope I'm not speaking over on top of you, because I know we have a little bit of a lag here on our technology. But as we close out, what's one parting word or sentence or something you'd just like to leave the ladies with?
Embodiment. You can't just do affirmations. You have to embody what you want to be. And that means being what you want to be. And I don't know how to describe it, but when you feel it, you are it. And if you can do that, your whole life will be magic. It will be the movie.
Oh, oh, creating that magic in the movie. And ladies, as we close out, my hope for you is that you discover something beautiful about yourself today. Be curious, go within, smile at yourself, give yourself a hug, and we are here for you. And if you'd like to take some brave steps with us, come download the Being Brave Tour magazine, or listen to one of our other stories on our podcast. And have a beautiful day.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Nicole.